Hello lovely friends, thank you so much for being here today for a lovely episode with Kim and I and a magical tree swipe challenge. And I want to say thank you so much to my first ever members, Dave and Kathy from Travelling Tramps. Thank you so much for being my first members. Really appreciate you. You're so kind and generous, and I want to give you a big shout out and lots of love. And you also gifted me 10 memberships, so I really appreciate that. If you check out all the members' names there, welcome aboard to my new members. I really appreciate you being here. And then yesterday Simply Ninette also joined, so thank you so much. If you fancy checking their channels out, you'll be so glad you did. Now let's have a look. I've got 2 coasters today and it's some functional art. And when I think functional art, I always think Louise Mackay art and I think Angela Bliss art. And there are many artists using functional art, but it's quite a new term for us in the UK because we tend to call it home decor. So isn't it interesting how we use different terminology for different things? So I'm starting off with my first coaster with this really beautiful iridescent copper by Pebeo. I'm really careful to tilt all of the colour all over the coaster and making sure that I'm getting all of the edges. And now for my first colour, I've got Pebeo iridescent gold with a layer of iridescent silver. Now most of the colours I'm using today are iridescent or metallic in some way, and you get the most amazing glimmer and shine. So the TLP Show Pony is one of my favourite pinks. You probably see it pop up a lot if you watch my videos. And the Steel Blue by Josonia and the Pebeo Iridescent Green Blue. These are some of my favourite colours, and I've never tried them all together in this colour palette, especially with a copper base. So I was so curious to see what the outcome would be. I'm just now putting the Steel Blue all the way through the spine of the tree, if you like. And then I'm putting some titanium white around the outsides to help with the highlighting. Very delicately. It just shows how when you use a coaster or a smaller canvas, how you use different tools to add a smaller amount of paint. So I've cut up my paper towel and I've dampened it very lightly with some water. I've just sprayed some water on it. And I'm now using different shapes and different sizes, as you'll see as I go along, to swipe from the centre. And if you can see, I'm picking up the darker paint from the centre of the tree and gently allowing it to move across the coaster, and then allowing it to drop down gently at the side of the coaster. I must just say at this point that this video is, and most of my videos are sped up to a certain degree at some point, because you don't need to see all the ins and outs. It would take absolutely hours, but also just to let you know that it is slower than what I'm showing in this video. I think it's always nice when I watch videos to know what the real time is and how long it actually takes. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. So I've now got my swipe on the other side, and I'm just intuitively going with what I feel I need to do. What I'm doing away from the coaster is I'm very gently just wiping off the excess paint onto the sheet that I have underneath. I use a double bedded sheet. I've got about 3 or 4 in my cupboard, just from years where, you know, I've just had old sheets to do painting around the house. I thought, why not just cover my art studio in it? It's great, you can wipe your hands on it underneath and it lasts me for months, and I just wipe it off each time, and it does gather layers of paint over the months, and then I renew it, but it's better than throwing it away. And I've now asked friends and family if they've got any old bed sheets. A single sheet would be fine, and what I tend to do with a double sheet is, after a few months when I want to clear a white surface, I then just move it a bit by a few feet and I've got a clean, clear surface to work on. See, with fluid art, it's so messy. I like to have as much coverage around the table as possible so I can have the drips And when you have a sheet, it's quite good because the drips tend to go on the sides, and it soaks up some of the drips. Whereas when I was using paper towel or plastic is not good to use unless it's just waste plastic. I wouldn't buy it, but I do have some waste plastic from, you know, when you've unwrapped something, that I'm also going to be using. It's good to reuse things if you can, and now I'm just looking around wherever I go and seeing how I could possibly reuse. So you can see the pink coming through from the show pony in the sky behind this tree, and where I've used that darker colour going through the spine of the tree, you can see how that's highlighting. I like to use a nice balance of lighter and darker colours, so when you're using your palette knife to create the tree, you get a really nice mixture. So that's my first one, and for my second coaster I've got my iridescent blue-green as a base. This is one of my favourite colours as well. So I'm spreading it evenly, being careful not to waste any drips, and I'm loving the shimmer of this already. So the first layer of paint that's going to go down is my Pebeo iridescent gold. Now these colours, they're either metallic or they're iridescent. And just before I lay down my gold, I'm just going to tilt the coaster very, very slightly in all different directions and tease the paint down with my finger, making sure that I'm covering the whole of the coaster. And there it is. All of the drips I save for another pour, either a practice pour or for my students to play with and practice, and then I reuse and reuse. And I use if you haven't seen, I've got a video on how to filter it. I literally just use a kitchen sieve. So now we've got the second layer, which is my iridescent silver on top of the gold, and this time I'm using sky blue. It's another one of my favourite colours, and it's one of the only colours that's not iridescent or metallic. I've got my show pony, and I'm wondering at this stage how it's going to turn out, and I love the idea that I have no idea. I've got my copper on top there, and I know this is going to be a lighter tree, so I'm thinking, how much of a dark base should I put through the spine of the tree at this point? I'm just taking stock, and then I decided to use at the bottom of the tree, because it does go quite far, the darker colour, to put in my Amsterdam bluish green and a little bit of greenish blue iridescent Pebeo just on the spine there. I do experiment with every single painting that I do, and I never use exactly the same layering, but when I know that colours may interact in a certain way, I like to use white as a really, really nice layer, or a lighter colour. I can go into that in more detail. Ask if you have any questions. I love answering your questions. So this is my titanium white, and I'm using titanium white in different intuitive places where I know that colours mix in a certain way. So for example, if you have copper, it's less likely to interact with the blue than orange. That's a whole chemical reaction and set of reasons why, but I won't go into it now. But if you have any questions about that, I love experimenting, seeing how different colours interact with each other, especially when mixed with either a pouring medium or water or both. So I've got my swipe tool, my paper towel, which is nicely dampened with a spray, just a light spray of water, just to give it a slight bit of heaviness and to help with flow. I'm working my way up the spine, again being careful to dip it in to the darker colour and then gently move it across the coaster. So I'm going to leave you for a few minutes just to enjoy the rest of this tree swipe. prepare, and I'll come back for the wet and the dry results. But just before I leave you with some nice relaxing music, I just want to say how much Travelling Tramps Dave and Kathy are so appreciated in our community. They are generous in nature and in supporting of so many people on their channels and their memberships. They do their best to support people in so many different ways, and they're lovely friends and a wonderful guiding light as well. So please do check out their channel and give them some love. Please do subscribe. If you can look at their journey and how they're travelling and what they're getting up to in their golden years, you'll be so happy that you did. Kim and I are both celebrating Dave and Kathy today for all that they are. So enjoy the music and I shall see you shortly.
Tongue-tied, paralyzed, words stuck in your throat. Green light, stage fright, body won't let you go. Oh, 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 and I already know. Oh, oh. You could say it all, you could say it all in the silence. You could say it all, you could say it when you can't speak. You could say it all, even if you don't realize it. You could say it all, you could say it all to me, and I already know. Oh, oh, and I won't let you go. You can't shout, strike out, just wanna be heard. They don't ask, speak fast, and you wish they'd listen first. Oh, 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 and I already know. Oh, 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 'cause you could say it all, you could say it all in the silence. You could say it all, you could say it when you can't speak. You could say it all, even if you don't realize it. You could say it all, you could say it all to me, and I already know. Oh, oh, and I won't let you go. Oh, when the words won't obey you, they won't come out. When your fingers are shaking, you can't spell it out. You could say it all, you could say it all in the silence. You could say it all, you could say it all. Oh, you could say it all, you could say it all in the silence. You could say it all, you could say it when you can't speak. You could say it all.
So we're just coming to the end now, and just before I show you the wet and dried results, I want to give a bit of a shout out to my lovely friend Kim. Thank you so much for doing these collabs with me. I enjoy every single challenge. It's such a joy to know you as a friend and a creator. Please go and check out her channel. She made an amazing painting for me recently in textured art, some stargazer lilies to celebrate my husband and I, our 16th anniversary. I'm so over the moon, and in a week or so we'll be sending the pieces that we made for each other in the post, so I'm so excited. If you check out the video that I did for her, a blue spray painted planet, I'm sure you'll enjoy that one too. Here's the result. I'm definitely keeping these two. I'm so pleased at how the metallics and the iridescent paints have mixed together and just produced these two completely different coasters. I love functional art and I can't wait to do some more. Again, please do check out the Travelling Tramps and their wonderful channel. You'll be so glad that you did. Thank you to all my new members. I really appreciate you. Thank you to my subscribers. I love you all. Show me what you're creating. I love hearing from you. Have a great day and I hope to see you again soon. Please check out Kim's creation now. I'm going to pop her link in the description and the pinned comment below. Thank you. Take care now. Bye.